Alright, so I've got all the rafters in place and nailed. In the time lapse, if you saw that I was only putting in one nail in these brackets. That was just to make sure that everything was going to line up right. So I went back, checked it, and then went back and put in the rest of the nails. Now I'm going to put the pieces that are going to be going perpendicular to the rafters, and then that's what the roofing is going to sit on. So I'm going to space it out. So this is 12 feet. So I'm going to have one row on either end, and then cut the difference in the middle into, then I'm going to come 4 feet down, 4 feet up, and then do 2 other rows in the middle there. And then we can start attaching the roofing to this, and it's going to be good.
let's check out the finished patio and awning area. So we have our table, our 2 little chairs. We've got Dewey there, checking stuff out. And then we've got our nice patio furniture here. So we've got another one of these chaise lounge chairs or something like that. Something that Hannah and I can use to lay out in the sun, and just some basic patio furniture. And we got this this rug as well. So you can see all of the Shushugiban on the rafters and then on the cross pieces here. So it looks real nice. And you'll also note that we're missing a couple pieces of roofing on the end here. Those 2 roofing panels actually got damaged in a storm, so I had a pile of the metal roofing, and I did not think of putting just like a cinder block or something to hold the metal panels from like flying off in the wind. So they actually flew off and then got wrapped around a tree. So I have to pick up a couple more pieces of roofing to finish that off. But other than that, it's all done. Hannah and I were both really happy with how this turned out. The Shushugiban, even though it is a little bit more work, it'll look really nice for a long time. I don't think it'll fade as much as the siding on the tiny house, just because most of the Shushugiban, it won't really be in the, it's not gonna be in the sun. Some very common questions that we've been getting about this awning is people are wondering why I attached it directly to the tiny house. We're not planning on moving this tiny house, like, ever. I can't think of, the only way that we're gonna move this is if for some reason we sell this lot and we take the tiny house with us. So attaching it directly to the tiny house, it just makes more sense to me rather than putting 3 more posts just to support it, and then none of it is actually being supported by the tiny house. And then therefore the tiny house would still be considered a movable structure. So you could certainly do it like that, and a lot of people with RVs or tiny homes, that is how they would actually do an awning like this. So the inspectors in this area in Cochise County, from what I've heard, they really don't even give a crap about little things like this. This isn't really an important deal to them. The only thing that they might have an issue with is I didn't include the awning in the building permit or the site plan that I created. So they might be like, they might fine me for it if they ever actually come up here and have an issue with it, but it's not really that big of a deal. A few people were concerned that the awning would actually cut the light out from the tiny house. And the thing is, the way that the house is positioned is it's positioned so that this side of the house is always gonna essentially be in the shade. So definitely during the winter months, the sun is going across the southern horizon and this part of the house is pointing north. So this side is essentially always gonna be in the shade anyways. So it doesn't really get a lot of light in on this side just because of how it's positioned. A few little upgrades that I'm gonna be working on soon is I think I'm gonna add some rope lighting basically around the perimeter of the awning. So that'll give us like a really nice soft light, especially once it starts to get warmer. We're gonna be spending a lot more time outside on the patio and just kind of enjoying being outside instead of inside the tiny house. It's just that it gets a little bit too cold in the evening to really be sitting out here comfortably. And I think right above this area where we're gonna be sitting is I might add a ceiling, like a nice ceiling fan up here. Just so that maybe when it's really hot out, like we're getting temperatures in the hundreds or whatever, or it doesn't even really get above 100 that much out here, but definitely in the high 90s, is say there's not like a lot of wind going on or anything like that, we could put up a nice fan and then that would provide a little bit of airflow around here just to keep it a little bit cooler. And then I'm gonna be making some platforms that are gonna act as steps to go up into the tiny house. So that little step that I made just out of some scrap lumber, we're gonna upgrade and I'm gonna make some nice platforms. I'll probably do the exact same Shushugiban treatment to the wood, just so that obviously the color of that will match the awning and all that kind of stuff. So that'll make that area look a little bit nicer as well. I'm gonna put a few outdoor receptacles as well. And then I think from basically the edge of the wheel well on the trailer here to the end, and then on this side here as well, I'm going to screw some 2x4s up into the basically the subfloor, and then screw on some of the galvanized roofing so that it almost provides a little bit of a skirt. Just on this side of the trailer. I don't really want to do it on the other sides because right now we're actually using the space underneath the trailer as a place for storage, just for like stuff that
I know that I'm not going to be using within the next year or so, like a lot of extra plumbing parts or plumbing pipes and stuff like that. Another concern that many of you have had is about the fence. The fence is not finished yet. It's not done yet. So we've got like the main part of it done, but what we're going to be doing here, let me grab it. So we bought 4 rolls of this 1/4-inch hardware cloth here. So we're gonna go around the entire length of the fence, the entire perimeter of the fence, trench down about 6 or 7 inches, and then bury this in the ground. And this is 2 feet tall, so it'll go up about 1.5 feet up the fence. And so that's gonna be a deterrent from snakes and for little rabbits and all that kind of stuff from getting in this fenced in area. I understand that the fence is not 100% coyote proof or snake proof or anything like that. The thing is, we're doing our best. We're trying to make it as much of a deterrent as possible. I really highly doubt that a coyote would jump over the fence while we're in it and then try to kill Bubba or Dewey basically right when we're there. It would be a very, very high risk activity for the coyote to do that. Because if a coyote did jump over, then I would be there and I would certainly do something about it. The fenced-in area is our place. If I see coyotes walking around or snakes slithering around on our property, I really don't care. They can be out there and do their thing. This area here, the fenced-in area, is our space. That's why we're trying to make it as difficult as possible for snakes and for coyotes and other animals to get into this area. We have many friends in this area, so we kind of know the deal out in this neck of the woods and what we need to be looking out for and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be safe, we'll be fine. I think those are the main comments and questions that we've been getting recently. So the next thing that I'm gonna be working on, what's coming up next, is we're gonna have the guy who did our septic system. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna send him a message today. We need to have him clear out some of the shrubs and some of the bushes and stuff in order to start with the next projects. For example, the rain roof, that's gonna be the next major project. And then also solar. So we're going, other than getting the Tesla Powerwall, just because Tesla, their communication with the people who leave their deposits is really pitiful. Like, the only communication that I've gotten from them is an email that I received just after I put down my deposit. I believe it was in November. That's the only communication that I've received from them. I've sent them quite a few emails, and I actually had to call them on the phone because they didn't respond to any of the emails that I sent out. So it's been really frustrating because I don't want to really be running this generator much longer. So we're gonna go with a different approach for the solar. So instead of getting the Powerwall, basically what we're gonna do is we're still gonna actually use Tesla batteries. It's just in a little bit of a different way in how or where they're coming from and how we acquired them. So that's really cool. Hopefully we'll have the solar system set up within the next 3 or 4 weeks or so. So we've got the batteries. I actually went and picked them up yesterday. The panels are coming on Monday, and the charge controller and inverter and that hardware should probably be coming later next week. Awesome. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Leave your questions and comments down below, and I'll catch you on the next video. Talk to you soon. Peace.